I've never practiced this scenario. Never fucking had it happen. Absolutely ridiculous. It's like 4 miles going and like so many rooms with so many enemies. I mean, it's not over yet. I'm like, okay. You're ready to use the bomb. What's in this room? I saw a knight. I think there's a wizard. I think. Holy fuck. How am I alive? Really? I mean, that's freaking my bad. I guess the wind statue is worth it. Oh my god. Okay. Had enough of Monk Zone 4D. Something goes wrong. Something just goes wrong terribly. Every single time, I hate it. And it's always like some like comic book style like joke or like situation where it's just like you just like basically can't do anything. So just absolutely freaking ridiculous and dumb, and I am so annoyed at this point. Hold. Alright guys, hello. It is post-commentary Gelforce here. And welcome to my run of lowest of the low. I'll give a brief introduction to what this is to people who aren't familiar, but I'll try to keep it brief. This is Crypt the Necrodancer, roguelike rhythm game combined into one. Well, a roguelike and a rhythm game. And inside of Crypt the Necrodancer, they have a challenge called the All Chars Run, which is just all the characters, but you need to do it in a row. Now, granted, this one is not the one. This run does not include the DLC characters, just the original 9 characters. And yeah, you might be able to guess this already, but low percent is you can't pick up items, you can't use shrines or any of that stuff. So yeah. The structure for this video is going to be a bit interesting. I think pretty shortly here, like I'll try to focus on like trying to like give commentary on like the gameplay that is happening for these first 4 characters, because I feel like there are going to be two types of people watching this video. One type of person is someone who's trying to get this themselves, and the other type of person is like they just kind of like want to see what I've been up to, which is like cool. And for that, I have like a bunch of like ranty stuff that I'll have like for the later 5, because I feel like anyone who's trying to go for this is mainly looking for tips for the first 4. Since, like, if you know how to do those 4, you know how to do the remaining 5. Well, that's actually not true. They have their own gimmicks as well, I guess. But, like, you get the point. Anyways, yeah. Let me try to... I'm going to start giving some insight into my Dove gameplay, I suppose. I'm not the most, like, I didn't look into too much resources. I looked into some. I mostly had like the wiki and like a couple of guides on YouTube. Rest I just kind of did on my own, so I might just be like super out of touch with like how you're supposed to do this. But I'll just try to explain how I did it, or like how I'm doing this right now. So basically, you're playing Dove. For the most part, my mentality when playing Dove is just, you got to think of. You don't want to like. I play a somewhat slow Dove. I don't like just having a bunch of enemies behind me that are gonna catch up, and I'm just like trusting that like once I get to the exit, like I'll just be able to like figure something out and get in. Like that's what I did for a while, but I find it much more consistent to like sometimes like take a step back. You know, you have some enemies following you, and you're like, all right, let me take care of these. Let me put these somewhere, and continue on that. Or you could just kill them with the trap. In zone 3, putting like these like horsemen in like the shop is oftentimes a good idea. Sometimes the shop can be interesting. Sometimes they'll have a middle door that will close automatically, so sometimes you might be able to just like travel a bunch of stuff in there, and it doesn't matter if like they re-aggro you, because the door will close. I had to go down this giant ice slide thing. It's just funny. Yeah. Here I'm trying to get like I'm being very greedy. I'm trying to get like a mini boss, 2 horsemen stuck inside here. And yeah, you're gonna see pretty soon here. That's just not happening. Maybe it would have been possible with this ice elemental. Is like
the ice elemental is
yeah.
trapping me in here.
Yeah, trapping you in here, making your tiles ice. Can't do anything. Whatever. Yeah, no. That was just the logical play. Just throw them away. They'll take a long time to get back. Like they are so far away. Right here. The exit was just right there, so not much. I think I was. What I was most likely thinking is like it was somewhere like through that wall. Because on zone 3, oftentimes if you like the exit will just be like just find some like wall that you spawn next to and like just dig inside of it, and if you don't immediately reach stone, you might just be like right there. So many times have I gone to the exit that way. Okay. Yeah, I'm blowing this guy up. This is a bit time consuming, but honestly, for how annoying the black bats are, I'd say it's worth it to wait here and shoot them with this beam. Because black bats are, they're just red bats, but if they ever get an opportunity to attack, they will 100% do it every single time. They're also very strange too. I don't understand how their confusing behavior like works. Because when you hit them with Delve, I just don't really get it. It feels like they just do like this, like it feels like they just like repeat. Like this might, I don't even know if this is true, but it almost feels like they like repeat the movements they were doing prior and then end up at the spot you were just at when you confused them, and it's like, what? Now granted, it could just be like random movements again, because I don't know what's going on. All that really happens when you confuse the black bat is that I guess it doesn't hit you while it's confused. It's something. Anyways, yeah, this is like the ideal thing to dig into. Like you just boom like 8 spike traps. You are doing so fine. I don't think I'm not sure if I meant to. Yeah, no, I don't think I meant to attract that chest, but honestly, it worked out, and honestly, it was probably the better play anyway, because it was making it so you wouldn't be able to like walk up directly at the top. Just be careful not to grab the item. Never confuse these binary dudes, because because their AI is set to like run away from you. So if you confuse them, they run towards you, and then will hit you. So you're essentially just aggroing a passive enemy. Anyways, yeah, found another laser beam, so you know what must be done. Got the ogre too here. That's nice. Yeah, Pixie here. Not bad. one good tip for Zone 4, try to dig at like the bottom here so that you have these walls. Because what you can do sometimes is you can kind of just like, because here's the thing about like enemies is they lack object permanence. A lot of times the solution to like getting something like out of your hair is just throw it into a deep dark corner and it will just stay there and won't do anything. And for Zone 4, like if you dig in a way where like you have these nice little walls, make these dark areas, it's not really the fact that they're dark, it's more that just the enemy has a wall blocking their vision from you. They can't see you. And that can make your life quite a bit easier if in your situation in like Zone 4 where like you need to organize like a handful of enemies, but like there are like no traps, so you can't just like kill them. But it's probably best to do something with them. Anyways, yeah, we got a spike trap here. This is a pretty good Zone 4. I think there were spike traps like laser beam in like every Zone 4 floor that I've been in so far. So. I feel like I deal with this mummy like inefficient. I can't exactly explain what it is, but like when I always have trouble like dealing with the mummy. As Dove, because it's like you got the little minion thing, but then like the mummy itself is like actually like really slow. But I'm very afraid of it. Anyways, yeah, that's Dove done. 9 minutes, probably a bit slow, but yeah, here we go. Bolt. All right. For me, the main thing about Bolt a lot of the time is like, it's just like, for me, like, I would say definitely near the end. The Bolt for me was just, you just need to stay in control. Because it's not like, because there comes a point where it's not like you're unsure of like what you want to do. But a lot of times you'll just get hit because, you know, it's just, you know, you'll miss a beat or something. So, Bolt is, yeah, a lot of practice. Something I did with Bolt, which is, I don't know if I'd recommend people do this, but I did, like, I just played it, all zones mode, like, just normally with items, but I just tried to get, like, the highest win streak possible. I think I got, like, 43. I mainly just, like it was for, experience, but also, it was, you know, it was pretty fun. Help make the game a bit more enjoyable. It's not just like a constant grind, you know. Here, Red Dragon here. Yeah, no, I'd say for like, you should do this as like every character, but Bolt especially. If you hear like Red Dragon or Stomping, just like don't try to like fight other enemies. Or like go into other rooms and try to like multitask fight it. Like no, just wait for the dragon to come to you, kill it, and then you can like move on. I would also recommend if you're like, I mean, I imagine you would inevitably get comfortable with this, but if you're not experienced with doing turnarounds with the dragon, where like you'll hit it with a sphere and it'll get like one tile away from you, do the trick and it'll fire beam, move out of the way, and you like switch directions. There'll definitely be times where like you just need to like know how to do that on the fly. Like ideally, it's usually nice to just have a nice big vertical line and not even have to do that. But like sometimes you'll just be in like zone 2, for example, and there might even be a scenario here in this run actually, where I have to do something like that. Where like zone 2, the dragon's like immediately stomping after you, and the room's like right there. So boom, it's already there. There's some enemies, you know. Yeah, just kind of need to turn around. Okay. I do this interesting thing with the I'm not sure if this is how people, because it kind of feels a little uncomfy. killing the Dark Minotaur in this fashion that I do, where like you just do it all 5 inputs, hitting inputs like in one go, but you have to time it so that right when the Minotaur is about to hit the wall, like yeah, no, like right here, it's stomping after me. There's a thing there. You gotta turn around. Exactly what I was talking about earlier. Yeah. Yeah, with the Dark Minotaur, it might seem a bit uncomfy to like do that thing where it's like, but what if I get the timing wrong? What if I like miss a beat? It's like maybe it's best to like kill the Minotaur in like, you know, like two charges or whatever. But I like doing it in 1 charge because like it does seem like kind of like a speedrunish thing to do, but oftentimes like the Dark Minotaur will just like be after you, and like you just need to get that thing killed so you can deal with the other stuff. You need to kill them now. I personally do not find it that hard to kill the Minotaur in that way. Not sure if that's a vault or a potion room. Be cautious of rooms like that have like catacomb walls. I don't even know why I'm saying this. This is something you'd absolutely learn with this experience, but like if there's like a dragon breaking through that, just know that you're probably gonna have to deal with like a black skeleton horseman and some monkeys and bats. Here we go. Death metal strat here. I don't like killing the clones. Maybe 2 times consumed, but it's also like there is a spawn limit of 5 for this fight. So like you'll have to, if you want to like stop them from spawning more enemies, you'll have to behead one of these green skeletons. But after that, you're good to go. You can't do anything. I accidentally killed one of the clones, so I had another one. Yeah. I'm kind of frantic here. I was very clearly like kind of like just trying to stay in control. Wasn't really thinking about hitting him. It's not too bad. I'd say that's probably the easiest death metal variant you can get. Mostly because of how the clones basically just make it so that your spawn cap limit is from the get-go already basically full. One thing I found helpful for like Zone 3 is obviously Zone 3 is a big issue with this is you know, this is true for every character. This is just a general trait of the game. Zone 3, things are just gonna rush you down when you spawn a lot of the time. And with Bolt, I kind of have this like semi-efficient killing method for the like horsemen, where you like knock it off and then you just like go back and forth, and if you don't miss a beat or anything, you'll always end up on the side of the skeleton, and from there you can behead it. And it's usually best to just leave it beheaded, so that it saves 1 beat, but sometimes you're gonna need that 1 beat. So, but also you'd have to chase after it too to get the body. So yeah, no, just if you really want to get the body, you can do that later, I guess. But if that right when you spawn, if you got skeletons chasing you down, just behead. Just get it to the point where they're beheaded. Move on to the next thing. Anyways, I played around there with the goblins a little bit because I didn't want to have like a situation where I needed to attack like the goblins from like 2 directions. Oh man, this is a little bit of a crowded spawner. Ooh, yeah. Got hit by a shover. It's not a big deal though. Honestly, don't be too afraid of getting hit by the shove monsters. They only do half a heart whenever they shove you against a wall. They are fast, but they're not super deadly. Like you're just getting swarmed, like definitely just take a shove monster hit if it's that, or like, you know, taking like a yeti hit or a horseman hit. Bit awkward here. I want to bait this goblin in, but I'm afraid like it's gonna gonna hit this like teleport pad thing, and I won't be able to like kill them. Just teleport somewhere random. Which, to be fair, like if it's teleporting somewhere random, like I guess that would be like it would most likely not be my problem anymore. But I don't like having things be unaccounted for. I don't know what the common my deep blue strat here for like just generally speaking, but for like Bolt 2, it's like I go in, I kill that first like knight or pawn there. With Bolt, you usually get to kill a pawn and a knight, or just like if the pawn goes first. And then you need to focus down some like, and then the second knight will like be baited. Usually, it's very consistently baited in after just like a few turns if you're just sticking around there and just killing other stuff. Kill that, get like 2 rooks. Save the bishops for last. You do want to get them killed before you ascend to the top and do the twins. But like, if you're tight on time, like they're just about to promote, usually it's fine to have the bishops just kind of be there. You can kind of make it work a lot of the time. Although yeah, no, if you end up with bishops left, then there is a chance you might take some damage. I'm trying to be real careful with bats, because actually, no, yeah, no. Pausing the game here because it's like one of my family members talking, but I don't think I paused it for too long. Honestly, I was just about to say, I'm like, oh yeah, I've tried to be real careful with these bats, but I don't know if I might be a bit too careful with these bats sometimes. That's gonna freak me out. I already deal with him double tempo. Yogurt here, I think it's like always, I always prefer just like waiting for the yogurt to reach this little spot before I begin attacking it or whatever, instead of like trying to do like a back and forth thing and then determining on like the beat that it moved into the spot how many times I need to hit it. I think just waiting is better. By the way, like, low percent tip. Every time you need to wait, like just don't just like let the beats pass. Like you want to like still be hitting the beats when you wait. Just hit like a button, like spell 1, spell 2, bag or something, like, because the game functions very interestingly. When you lose a beat, it'll kind of like freeze up. It kind of like trying to like give you some like a grace period or whatnot, but like whenever you're intentionally trying to skip a beat, that can really trip you up. So if you press like some type of like spell or bag button, oof, yeah, that spider, yeah. I don't blame myself for getting hit by that spider. It just kind of came out of nowhere, and it's really hard to align. But yeah, low percent tip. If you're like skipping beats, use a bag or spell button. It'll make things so much better, and it helps you keep track of the beat. Like even if that grace period function like didn't exist or whatever, I think I'd probably still do it just so that like like my internal metronome is still like completely consistent with my taps. Yeah, just getting a skeleton down here. Oftentimes, this can be a little bit tiresome, but if yeah, no, now I'm on half a heart. The horse, because of blade. Heart. I'll say I don't know why I'm so stressed here. Like, yeah, it's like half a heart, but like a lot of the time, like if you're taking damage in like zone 4, like 4 or 3, it's kind of because you've lost control and you would have taken like a lot of damage as a result of a mistake of that nature. Getting kind of distracted by that blue bat there. Not very important at the moment. Yeah, one thing I'd recommend, this is one thing I kind of regret not doing. For a while here, I kind of always like ate shit to these Blade Masters on 4-3 because the tempo is so high and you gotta do back-to-back parry hit. And I just struggle with that. And I didn't really have a great way to practice it, because it's not like I didn't understand what to do, but it's just like, it's just so fast. Yeah, definitely just go into like the level editor, play some like Blade Mask, get like Training Sarcophagus, place it down, put on the 4-3 music, maybe even death metal too. Go a little bit above and beyond. I'm not sure if I ended up using my Bonder for King Konga. King Konga has a strat. I won't explain it fully here, because I'm not even sure if I used it. But if you go on the right of his throne, place a bomb, go right, miss a beat, go right again. In almost like every, like, you will be able to do a bomb's worth of damage to him from the get-go and also destroy his throne. Which, for, like, a bomb's worth of damage is enough to kill, like, most phases of King Konga. So, a lot of the times, you just walk up to it, do the bomb thing, do that, and boom, he's dead. I think here I was, like, sometimes I feel uncomfortable with walking up to his throne, because things are just, like, getting in the way, so I kind of just, like, do the fight like that.
So many beats in that fight.
No, I lost a lot of beats in that fight. Pretty scary. But yeah, with Volt on King Konga, don't feel super pressured to get a line set up, because you can, with the sphere, you don't need to like be on beat. Like you can just like, if there's just like a straight line of like King Konga things, you just spam the attacks with the spear and it'll just all die eventually. So it's not super essential you get them set up in a way so you can do the standard cheese of, it's not really cheese, but method of just like hit that, hit the other one, hit that, hit the other one, you know. You get the idea. Alright. Oh boy, Aria. Alright, it's gonna be a bit more normal gameplay. Yeah, here we go, Aria. I should explain some of these characters to people who like aren't familiar. Like obviously with Bolt, you could probably tell it's double tempo. That's the character's gimmick. Aria's gimmick here is that they don't have health. They do get one potion, so you get to make one mistake, but you also can't miss beats. So like if you miss a beat, like that's a mistake. That'll use your potion. So yeah, in a low percent run, Aria is a bit tricky. You only get one mistake. But granted, with how little health characters get in general, a lot of the times, one mistake is like, you know, similar to what you would have. Similar to just what you'd have the leeway for anyway. And yeah, good use of the traps there. Quickly taking care of like mini boss and stuff. I tip with the level 1 sarcophaguses, because later stage sarcophaguses are somewhat easy to deal with, because you can just behead the skeleton that comes out of it, like assuming you didn't get like a mage or whatever, which you would have to kill that and then, you know, wait for a skeleton spawn. But usually they're very, you know, fine to deal with. You just behead the skeleton and the sarcophagus is basically just dealt with. But for the level 1 skeletons, where, like, you know, you can't behead them, I would say, like, it took me a while to just, like, really just be like, oh yeah, I guess I can just do this. But sometimes if it spawns, like, a horseman out of it, you can just, like, take it to, like, the other, like, you can just, like, take it to your spawn point, like, dismount it, and, like, you don't need to, like, kill, like, the skeleton. You can just go by. Sometimes you can just ignore the spawning skeleton. Because the approach I kind of tried to do originally was like I just kill every skeleton that would come out of the level 1 sarcophagus. I just kill all of them, and it would make things kind of like time consuming and oftentimes put me in an awkward position. There's Mummy here. I had a nice vertical line here, so Mummy's not too bad a problem. Speaking of, yeah, no, zone Zone 1 are Zone 1, which is Zone 4. I'm gonna call this Zone 4. I'm not gonna do like the inverse logic thing. Like this is Zone 4. Yes, you start here, but I'm just calling it Zone 4. Yeah, I would say this isn't a hard rule, but always try to have a preference towards digging horizontally from your spawn point. Because the boss room will always spawn on the other corner of the map that you spawned on. Because you will always spawn on some corner of the map. And the boss room will be in the opposite corner. If you dig horizontally in either the left or right direction, you will be approaching the boss room from either like top down or bottom up, which usually gives you a better position for a lot of the bosses that you'll be dealing with, like dragons and mummies. Because they can be a pain in the ass to deal with if you're like horizontally. Because you just need vertical space for these to be killed efficiently. Sometimes you'll have like terrain where it's like there's just like walls that you need like a level 2 shovel for to dig, and it's just like really painful. If you end up in that scenario, it's fine. Just go the other way. And then you can just make your way back to like a horizontal-esque position. Here for Death Metal 4, Aria, I tend to use my bomb pretty early in like a Death Metal or like King Konga type boss fight. Because dealing with these late stage boss fights can be kind of a pain. So I like to use my bomb there. That's a strat you could use to quick kill Death Metal. It's basically what you do is you just have it so that whenever you get to the bottom of the screen, it'll step towards you as you step to its side. And it's important to be at the bottom of the screen, or else like the knockback won't work in a way that'll have it be within bomb range. You hit it twice, go up, place a bomb, hit it again, go up, and go up twice. And then it will put it on 2 HP, which will skip the entirety of the phase where it like spawns a bunch of garbage. Which I think is definitely worth it here, because Death Metal 4 is the variant which has the confusion things that cannot be beheaded. So I think if I ever get in that scenario as Aria here, I use my bomb for that fight. Anyways, yeah. Just killing stuff. There's a blue dragon. I have plenty of vertical space here, so it's not a problem. One thing I'm kind of curious about, I feel like it's always embarrassing when this happens, because the slimes have a set path, but oftentimes I'll like kind of get tripped up because it's like it's going in like a diamond path, and like I have a hard time memorizing the mapping for that on the fly. So sometimes I mean it's part of the reason why I always opt to killing these fire and ice slimes. I'm kind of curious, is that like a me thing, or like do other people get messed up? I don't know. I don't know. I'll probably never figure out the answer to that question. Yeah, since you can't skip beats as Aria, I oftentimes the most efficient way to deal with goblins is like walk into it towards like a corner. Have it so like they're one tile away from you. Walk away, mine a block, and kill the goblin. I know it's easy to get into the habit of like just mining like an entire like section of a wall down so that you can skip each individual beat, but and this sounds like a very insignificant thing, but it can be more helpful than you realize. Like, yeah, no, when you do that, you're you're kind of wasting your nearby mineable walls. So if you can reasonably deal with a goblin by just walking it into a corner and then going back and mining one tile. That'd be great. And yeah. Bit of a typical Zone 3, level 3 spawn. Got a boss like chasing you and some skeletons. I say if you're having trouble with like the... I mentioned this before with Bull. Why am I saying this again? But yeah, if you're having trouble with like the Zone 3 spawns, like you just find yourself like in like you can't really deal with the swarms. Try to like look at the ways you kill things like horsemen or other enemies and like being like am I killing this as efficiently as possible, or am I like, are there like opportunities where I can't kill this but I'm like opting to like run away, because oftentimes like the best way to deal with swarms is just kill things quickly and efficiently or else you just kind of end up like retreating too much and you get back into a corner and then you die. Anyways, yeah. I know there's an effort by the devs here to kind of like balance Aria a bit here by having the Zone 4 enemies be in other zones. And I mean, like, you know, it's something. I still find that Aria's quite a bit heavy on the Zone 4 and 3 difficulty. Because the thing with like Zones 1 and 2 is a large part of why they're generally just much easier than Zones 3 and 4 is that you can kind of just like, at least for low percent, you can kind of just like, a lot of time you can kind of just like skip fighting like half the enemies, because the spawn is usually at some like very predictable place that's like right near your spawn point. Did I say your spawn? I meant the boss room. Yeah. Like for Zone 2 here, like it will be like you'll often spawn in this like box shaped thing, and it'll be like whichever like way is the direction that none of the paths are going. If you mine that way, you'll probably find a boss room. Sometimes it'll be like stone or whatever because the boss room's too far away for it to be connected. But you get the idea. Oftentimes what I might do here is like I might thing with Aria, with all these Zone 4 enemies, like you'll have things like Yetis like mining in the walls. I don't like mining towards the boss room from the get-go. It's generally safe from like my experience of like doing it, but like I don't want to get like jumped by a Yeti through the walls. I do still mine there for a bit though, because oftentimes what you can do is if there's a dragon or a nightmare as the boss, just mining just a little bit closer to the boss room will be able to trigger it, and it's generally preferable to fight them with them coming to you instead of you approaching their boss room and having to like, you know, deal with them then. And you know, part of that, the reason is because, you know, you're fighting it on, you know, your turf, obviously. But another reason is that red dragons and nightmares, the little interesting thing about them, they will trample enemies on their way to try to get you. But it's only when they haven't like roared at you yet. Like they have these cries. Like for the horse, it'll be like, you know, like a horse cry, and then for the dragon it'll be like a roar. Like, yeah, right there. When you hear that, they will no longer trample enemies. Like if there's an enemy in the way, it will just like wait there and like not go towards it. So if the nightmare or the dragon hasn't seen you yet, it still can trample other enemies, which can be very helpful sometimes, because in certain spawns it will spawn on like the furthest away from the boss room from you, and in order to get to you it has to trample through like their sarcophagus and like all the enemies in the room, and it can just be so nice sometimes where you just kill the boss that comes to you and you just walk in there and it's just like they're all dead because they got trampled. It's a neat little thing. Alright, core riff strats. Try to stay at this top row because a lot of time there will be like, you can probably already see, but with like the ones that aren't the horizontal one, they'll spawn in blocks that are like, not blocks, tiles that are already water tiles, and ideally you want them, you know, making less of the place as a water tile mess as possible. So it's ideal have them be up there. Once you get to this phase and there's like some like remaining tentacles, it can be tempting to like sort of like try to take them out and then take care of Coral Rift. Usually, not always, you need to use your judgment in the moment, but usually you want to prioritize hitting Coral Reef and then going for whatever tentacles you might have. Because of his splash attack, like it can be very deceptive. For synchronization there, just find take note of like a tile that you walk on, like of like when it moves and what tile you moved onto when it moves, because you want to alternate between popping on that tile, because it'll move, you'll be on that tile, you move towards Coral Rift, you hit it. It can be a very easy way to, well, a very easy mental trick to use to like synchronize yourself with Coral Rift, instead of like having this like weird thing where like you kind of like walk back and forth and like you're trying to see like, I know when I was first playing the game, like my strat for like Coral Rift would be like, I'd like look at the particles and like if I moved away and the particles were about to get me, you know, that's when you can go in. And it's not the most efficient thing. My strategy there is just take note of a tile that you're moving on, that like you move onto when it moves, and that tile is going to be your tile that you want to alternate on. Little efficiency tip for the warlocks. You'll probably notice that like don't be like you do want to be cautious of them, but don't be like super duper cautious to the point where it's like you need to separate it from all other enemies before you kill it, because what you'll probably discover, well, yeah, no, because I feel like it's like it might be a common thing to like notice that like, oh, if there's enemies behind like a warlock, you can never like kill it, because if you tell it, you know, because you'll swap positions and the other enemy will attack you. But a lot of the times warlocks will be stuck behind a enemy that has the same movement speed of like every 2 beats. If you can hit the warlock, or if you can kill the warlock when the other enemy is not going to move just yet, the other enemy will not attack you once the warlock teleports you, which can be helpful for killing things faster. It is a bit awkward. This enemy is so slow that like it will open the door, but like the door will close by the time it's ready to move again. It's gonna have to open the door on its behalf. Another tip with the metal doors, oftentimes what I like, other tip here, like the metal doors can be like sometimes like a pain in the ass deal, because you don't, whenever you're playing Los, like generally speaking, you want to play it very safe. You want to make sure that like whenever you're going for a thing, that like you are almost always able to retreat and go back at any time. Metal doors make that painful because they will close and you'll have to open them again in order to retreat. So unless there is a non-mineable block, what you can do with the metal doors is you can just mine the tiles on the sides of it, and then the metal door will just disappear as a result, which can make things a lot nicer. On the spiders can be especially tricky on like this. I mean, they don't even spawn in regular zone it's only zone 1 for Aria that they make a return. It can be tricky because you don't you know, you don't have the like zone 4 thing where like you mine multiple of the wall. You can only mine one at a time, so you have to sort of bait it. very carefully. This wasn't actually calculated, but it ended up working out really nicely. The beheaded body of the skeleton I killed is blocking the other horseman from getting to me. Because it moved down after the minotaur got out of the way. I don't know if that's like a thing that you could replicate easily, like, but that was a neat little thing in this scenario. Like, I just didn't have to deal with that horseman until, you know, like, the minotaur was killed in a safe manner. Anyways, golden loot time. I can't really do it. Oh my! I got a horrible spawn. It's double horseman. It's probably, it just is the worst thing. So I can't. There might be methods where you can recover and do the quick kill anyways, but whenever that happens, my plan is just to do the boss fight. That's how I normally do it. But yeah, no. Tip for the like quick kill. Like, you won't be able to see it in action here for this run because I'm just fighting the boss, like, you know, like the boss. But whenever you're trying to do the quick kill, do a little move in a square once you reach the like just a small little square thing. It'll help so much with consistency. I don't know. I can't exactly explain it, but it just makes things align so much better. Oftentimes, it can make scenarios where, like, horsemen will get stuck behind the golden loot. Anyways, yeah. Sick. Very stressful character. Monk is interesting. Like, you saw, like, one of the deaths at the beginning, but Monk, like, I had, like, Monk I save as the 4th character in the Big Four, and I've had, like, at this point, like, 3 or 4 attempts where, like, I got to Monk and, like, died on Zone 4 within, like, the past, like, 3 days or something. So, like, I was kind of getting tired of, like, getting attempts this far and, like, anticipating, like, a death to Monk. So I'm kind of just, like, mentally preparing here, and I'm just like, oh man, hopefully I can break through this. Anyways, here we go. Monk. Playing this character well is kind of like, you have to, like, take your time. So I find this character to be rather, like, boring to do in low percent, because oftentimes good tips are stack money, you know, try to make sure you can have paths back to all the places you need to go. A good way to stack money, in my opinion, is like, walk into a room, get all the enemies, like, aggroed, and then, like, walk outside of that room, and then, at least for, like, Zone 1, usually, like, you know, there are, like, no enemies that won't just be able to be killed with, like, a dagger hit, or, you know, just, like, multiple dagger hits, like a skeleton where, like, you just, like, beheaded or whatever. So yeah, just aggroing it out. Got this little thing here. Stack the gold. Makes your life marginally easier. It can be easy sometimes as Monk to, like, get a little too lost in the sauce, and like, you know, and be very, like, particular with, like, each and every enemy kill, where, like, you're like, I need to find the perfect spot for this. Sometimes I would say as Monk, like, you just kind of have to play around with it to figure out what mix works for you the best. But, like, you don't want to be spending all the time in the world planning out, like, gold spot locations. a lot of the time is the best play is to just first tile that you notice like it's fine to kill it here, just kill it there, because it can be easy to like when you're stuck in these like early zones like be accustomed to the fact that like because you're not really in like grave danger a lot of the time here, and so you'll be playing in a, at least this is my experience, like you'll be playing in like a mentality where it's like, oh, I'm very careful, I can take my time, place all the little gold patches where I want. But then you'll like get to later zones, like zone 3 or something, and then you'll get in a situation where it's like, oh my gosh, things need to die quickly right now, or else I'm gonna get cornered, and it's just too much of a juxtaposition when compared to that play style that you were adapting previously, of just like being very slow and like planning everything. So like in the moment, you're still kind of trying to like plan where things die, and you're inhibiting your ability to just kill things and stay alive. So I would say I would recommend this monk. Obviously you want to plan out things, but don't get too lost in the sauce, or else you might end up dying. Or sometimes like you'll try to like put so much like thought into like planning it, and then you might like panic a little bit and just like throw it somewhere, and then it just ends up being like the completely worst spot possible. I've had that happen many times. Another thing here, it's not a super, because usually they tend to be noticeable in like zone 1 or like zone 2, but we're not even at zone 3 yet, but like just zone 3 in particular, if you're playing without the DLC, so you don't have to play zone 5, do know that these money walls can still spawn in, and while they're fairly noticeable in these early zones, zone 3 sometimes they blend in like super well, so try to like be paying attention to like the walls you mine in, like if possible, like don't like maybe like take a beat to like move back from like each wall that you mine, so that you don't just like accidentally mine into like a gold wall that was basically impossible to detect. The whole thing with the Minotaur here, like sometimes it won't be like optimal kill in a certain place, but do if it's like just going by, do try to get one hit of chip damage, because what that allows you to do is to just next time it comes to you, you can just get all 4 hits in and it'll just die, as opposed to like if you just like let it go, you'd have to retreat for a little bit and then finish it off. But getting like that one chip damage on the Minotaur could be helpful. Coral Rift is monk. It can often oftentimes I feel like Coral Rift monk. I would say don't be afraid to like use every tile like at your disposal, because a lot of time, since it starts as like a half and half split of like land and water, you kind of like just focus on keeping like the land part just like pure. But a lot of times you can just like let it be. Because with monk, like things just be it can be like quite a complicated process to like de-water tiles. So you can just like let it be, and then like just de-water tiles like on like Coral Rift side. Because you only need 2 land tiles. Because you don't have to stay on beaten low percent. You only need 2 land tiles in Coral Rift to be able to have enough space to attack them. I wonder if I'll utilize it here. Little thing here you can do with the mushrooms, you can just like hit the mushrooms, and like since everything that is like killable, even like things that aren't even enemies, like, well, they're classified internally as enemies, but they're not enemies. Like these mushrooms, they'll have a gold spawn. But so for zone 2, sometimes you can definitely benefit a bit from like hitting the mushroom, having the gold be there, and then stacking enemy kills on top of that spot. I guess I could try to be a bit more, explain a bit more into my philosophy of gold stacking. For me, I don't know, it just depends on, like, I feel like, my philosophy for gold stacking is just, like, generally speaking, if you can just get, like, a decent, count of enemies to, like, have stacked gold, that tends to be good enough for organization for money. Like, I feel like oftentimes it might be easy to get fixated on the idea of, like, look at all these enemies that I haven't stacked gold with. Like, don't worry about that. Like, if you've gone through Flora and you, like, use gold stacking, like, you know, maybe, like, 6-7 times or something. It depends on how long you spend on the floor. Like, you know, you did a good job. You don't have to do it for, like, every enemy. Just if there's just like an easy opportunity of like, oh hey, these two are coming at me, I can stack their gold, then you just do that. Could have totally mined that mushroom there. I kind of went back and forth on the wrong tile, so I kind of have to like navigate around these lizards now. Pretty unfortunate. I really didn't have to go up there. The thing was not gonna hit me. That's fine. Zone 3, Zone 3 is like such an like an open area. Like I would say, like, yeah, no, you don't need to utilize gold stacking too much here. You get a good amount of space. Elementals are like interesting. Usually for Crypt, Zone 3, whenever you need to like clear out enemies and stuff, generally you need to like prioritize certain enemies over others, and prioritization usually just goes by, you know, which enemy is the fastest, which one is the most aggressive.
take that one out first. The elementals are a somewhat interesting case, because the longer they exist on the screen, the more they will make fire and ice tiles. So, you kind of have to experiment around with it, but it can be a good idea to try and, like, if you're getting hoarded, like, it might be a good idea to, like, maybe, like, ignore, like, a hellhound, for example, to in favor of, like, you know, again, like a ice elemental icing up less of your tiles. One other thing I'd also recommend, I would recommend practicing around with these Yetis. I feel like for a good amount of time, like the Yetis are big and intimidating. They walk slowly, and they have a splash, you know, and they have this splash thing. So it can be easy to sort of like be afraid of that and like be like, oh no, I need to make a ton of space between me and this Yeti, but the splash is just one tile away from its position. You can, like, if you're still having that issue where, like you can't get comfortable just getting close to it, it just makes you extremely uncomfortable, I recommend go into, like, the lobby and, like, just play around with them for a little bit. Because sometimes it can be pretty important that, like, you're not, wasting too much time, stalling on a Yeti.
Blues 4.
Hell yeah. I got deep blues 4 for this right now. His monk. It's a bit scary, deep blues 4 is for me, at least. Ooh. Oh my goodness. Yeah, kind of a bit close there, but I guess it ended up fine. Deep blues 4, like, I have a general strat I like to do with monk and deep blues, where, like, I kind of, like, go on, like, the right side of the board and kind of, like, just try to, like, defend it in a way, I suppose. And, like, there's a bit of stuff where, like, prioritize other, you know, try to get other people's skill and stuff. But yeah, you just, like, be like this little, you know, sentry, and then you just camp in a spot and then wait and kill the queens. Deep blues 4, there's just too much health to go around for, like, the strat to be super effective. You'll see what I do here. I kind of try to utilize the bomb so I can get a queen and a knight killed, ideally, or 2 knights killed, and, like, you know, leave the. It just depends on, you know, what deep blues is doing at the time. Zone 4 monkeys. Okay, yeah, there's a reason it gave me a lot of trouble. Zone 4 monkeys can be so annoying at times, because in between the moss golems, the moss on the ground that will just generate naturally, traps, statues, there can be sometimes where you just have, like, no freaking space. And it is not helped by the fact that your character's whole gimmick is leaving these little gold patches that you can't step on. So yeah, dealing with it can be quite the struggle. Certain things you can utilize. Goblin bombers can destroy gold for you. Statues can destroy gold for you. You might want to consider, like, mining into the walls for a bit. Like it'll only go to stone, but you can, like, you can fight, like, a moss golem next to it, and those moss tiles will be in like, the wall instead of, like, someplace in the area where it otherwise would have been. As you can see, I didn't utilize it there. Not following my own advice, I see. Will I do it here? There's every tile there's my. I guess after all, I'm just... I guess it makes sense, because the attempt right before this, I had a floor with a mommy, or a mummy on it. And because I was spending too much time trying to organize, which frankly there were so many moss golems. It wasn't even like I was like taking my sweet old time. There were just so many moss golems. Yeah, I ended up running out of time, and I lost my bomb and like all my health, and then I just died shortly afterwards because I made a dumb mistake, which is probably partially influenced to the close call I just experienced. These spin statues are kind of frustrating. For a while, I was kind of afraid of like hitting the wind statues, because sometimes it'll blow you against the wall, not actually blow you away. But if it's blowing you against a wall, you can hit the wind statue. Which for a while I kind of was reluctant to ever try doing that. Okay, yeah, here I'm doing the thing with the mining the wall, having the moss tiles go there. Yeah, okay, there I did it. Yeah, with the wind statues, I'll be reluctant to hit it because because in the back of my mind, I'll think it'll function like the statue like right next to it right there, where like it has the little like pursed lips face, where like if you it won't do anything if you stand, if like you just go next to it, but if you try to hit it, it will explode. And I'll like I think I like thought that the wind statues also did that. No, they just blow you away. If they blow you against a wall so they don't actually move you, you can hit the wind statue like to the right, for example, and like make it so that, you know, this corridor, for example, has now become accessible. Something that might be worth knowing here. I was about to get cornered here. Yeah, that damage I took from the yellow skeleton there was probably avoidable, but I don't think I would have played it any differently, because at the time, like, I noticed I was getting cornered. There's a little money wall by the way. They can be very subtle too on Zone 4 as well. Yeah, no, I noticed I was getting cornered, and I saw like there was a skeleton that was gonna hit me, and it might have been avoidable to take that hit, but you don't want to get cornered as monk. If you have to take a hit to make sure you're safe, sometimes I would argue it's worth it. Another way you can conserve tiles as well is, you know, carry over some of that dove gameplay habits. Use the traps, have natural hazards kill the enemy. You know, see, taking that hit was totally fine because I just got healed up to max. That monkey was quite lucky. Got him spike trap twice, but both times it was not. Didn't have it spiked though. Yeah, time's kind of running low here. I mean, this is probably something I knew at the time. I was a bit pressured, and I'm trying to figure out what the best mix-up like I need to deal with things, but also I need to make sure this boss is dead. So I need to rush, but like as safely as I can like possibly allow. It's another mummy, of course it is. Yeah, I can tell that the bars are about to go road here, which means you only have about like what, like 30 or so beats left. Yeah, I took a black hat that hit there.
Get up here.
Because I really want to get this kill in time. Yeah, it's chill. I can just wait.
God, it's not even done yet.
Yeah.
Fuck.
I'm scared of this boss. And for good reason. It's a deep loose forest monk is difficult to be consistent at. Yeah, got a knight and a queen. Didn't get the other knight, but knight and a queen is definitely good enough. Almost every piece that I need killed is killed at this point, so very safe. And just let the queens come to me.
Okay, that is big 4 done with. I'm gonna transition here from less like gameplay oriented commentary to more just general like ranty stuff. I wanted to get I wanted to have at least gameplay oriented game. Oh.
I'll be back. And hopefully,
Yeah.
like, hopefully this just might be the run. I don't know. But oh my god, thank God, Monk finally pushed me.
Alright, yeah. I'm probably gonna include a cut here. But I will take a moment to explain that yeah, I'm gonna transition here from less gameplay oriented commentary after this big 4. I mostly I wanted to have gameplay commentary for these first 4 characters at least, because I'm aware that there are probably 2 types of people watching this video. I don't even, did I say this before? I'll say it again. There are probably 2 types of people watching this video. One who want to like you know, watch other people's gameplay and figure out how to do this better themselves, or people who just want to see what I've been up to. So I think people are probably not going to need like a lot of commentary for these remaining characters. If you can do these 4, you can do these other 5 very. I imagine it won't be that problematic. Anyways, yeah. I'm gonna put a cut here.
Okay. Rebuild my water.
Chars.
Start with Eli.
Alright. Now we're on the more lax part. It's still stressful. Anyways. Let's just rant about stuff. Yeah, you know, do a meta thing for that. Yeah, why am I structuring the video? I kind of had to think a while for how I was going to structure this, because what I've done with like previous things for like, because for me the 2 main prior things of like precedent are like the Celeste, Farewell Goldenberry, and then the End is Nigh, Iron God, both of which have like basically the same thing of just like text commentary with like room difficulty ranking. And you know, I think that was the best way to do it for those games. This game is a bit more confusing. I feel like for people who haven't played it, like it's not really, it's hard to somewhat intuitively understand, I suppose. I would think, because with, you know, Celeste and this night, it's like you dash around as a person, or you dash around as a blob. Well, you don't dash as a blob, you jump around. It's like, oh, okay, and that's the game, and like, yeah, that is the game, I guess. This game is, every enemy has its own movement pattern and whatnot, so. And that all has to be just learned through playing the game. And I think for the length of the run too, like this is a 3-hour run. Well, technically, like more like in game it's 3 hours, but time wise, because I'm not always actively running the clock. Like I took more than 3 hours for this run, so I don't know. I feel like there just isn't enough things to say in like a text format, but I feel like ranting. Yeah, I don't know. It's not the most interesting thing in the world, but it's something. It's something. Yeah, Eli here. I'm doing it like some people play this character later, which I don't blame them for. You know, bombs are pretty strong compared to, you know, just standard daggers. But without DLC, Eli doesn't have his hand as like a mechanic of the game. Here, I'm gonna like blow up the items. But yeah, the DLC changed Eli up a little bit so that he can't like deal damage, but if there's an enemy that gets right up next to him, he can use his hand to swipe them away and knock them back a tile, which can be very helpful for navigating certain situations. Note, this is without DLC, so this does not have that. If there's an enemy that moves once every beat and it gets right up next to you, you are either taking damage or like you are either dying, taking damage, or maybe trying to finagle your way through like some type of like crowd of enemies and happening to find one that has like a higher movement priority and get that one to move in front of you. But it also isn't a one beat movement, and it's a very hard thing to pull off. So you do not ever want a one movement enemy beat ever again next to Eli. So you want to keep your distance as much as possible. So like, and I do that by kicking the bombs, and you do that for everything. You need a mine somewhere, you kick a bomb at it. You need to find an enemy, kick bombs at it. Something kind of in the vicinity, you kick bombs at it. Of course, if enemies get kind of close, you just have to drop a bomb and get away. But ideally, you want to just, you know, kicking bombs is just how you do everything, which makes this character kind of boring-ish, because it's just kind of the same thing over and over. Place a bomb, kick it. Place a bomb, kick it. Place a bomb, kick it. I guess I'll give my opinions on some of the characters in general, because I do have quite a bit to say about them in the Big Four. Not another good thing I just did there. Placing it was still, like, I was next to it, and it does move once every beat, but it was still not tangible yet, so I could take a beat to place home. There is quite a bit to say in terms of like just my opinion of how like the first four characters kind of play, in my opinion. I would say some people might be curious about this, like which one is like the least enjoyable to play, in my opinion. That's probably Dove, although I could definitely see that just being like a skill issue type of thing. But Dove I just found to be so hard to be consistent at, mostly because of Zone 4. Because the traps are just feel so important sometimes. But not only that, some Zone 4 layouts just feel like just such like a fuck you to Dove, dude. Like, oh my god. Like, you'll just be like mining somewhere that you can't see, and you'll mine into like a black bat cave, and now there's like 12 black bats like just on the map, and it's absolutely horrible. You just cannot like realistically survive it without like doing some like rush strat or something. So yeah, Dove is a whole thing. Black bats are the worst. Zone 4 also has a wisp type that moves diagonally, and like it can move diagonally, and it also moves once every beat. Granted, sometimes it is easy to just get it to just shoo away because it also goes through the walls, which also means you can shove it into a dark place easier. To be fair, but if you're not in the position to really do something like that, then it's just like, you know, that wisp is a big issue. So yeah, Dove is, it's not the worst thing in the world. There is skill to it. It's kind of neat to strategize and, you know, figure out ways to do stuff like that, but I think it plays so much differently from every other character. It makes doing a lowest run very awkward, with Dove included, because it's like I have to play like a round of like mastered I'm just imagining like you have like Crypt the Necrodancer, and you got your all chars low % run, and at the start of it you need to complete a round of like a master level Sudoku or something before we can, you know, play the other stuff. And it's like but I want to play Crypt. That's how it feels with Dove sometimes. But if you can get good with Dove, I'm sure you'll have a perfectly fine time just coexisting with the character. I guess my other thing too would be next up. Honestly, I might arguably dislike this character maybe a bit more than Dove. Although, no, not in like a. In practice, I don't dislike it more than Dove because it's still just pretty normal gameplay for the most part. But oh my god, Aria! I'm someone who is very prone to putting in like double inputs, or like my hand might like shake and I'll just put in like a double input, or like maybe I just might like have some type of like situation where like I don't know, I just have like my ways of like dealing with like situations can sometimes just be like terrible. And the double tap thing is kind of just like a natural thing that happens, but sometimes I like whenever I play, like it's an awful habit I have with some of the characters. Whenever I'm in a situation where I'm not entirely sure what to do, I'll just like do nothing instead of like doing something. And that's especially bad for Aria because, you know, you need to always be doing something. So that issue gets naturally better, I guess, as you get more confident with playing the character. It's just like, you know, whatever. I can't be too whiny about that aspect. But I will say, I think the no missing beat aspect of it being as, it's not really that it's as punishing as it is, but it's already a character where you get no health. So just having a constant threat of just like you can always die to like basically like nothing, like oh no, your hand was a bit too shaky for, you know, doing this thing, so now your run is dead. I just think that's very low. I just don't like it. I think it could have been done so much differently. The thing here's the way I would do it. I think you can have a yeah. A little bit of pause buffer here. This is a bit of a crowded zone. I navigate this kind of carefully. Okay. Yeah, I did fine. Situation's mostly dealt with now. Anyways, yeah, no. My thing with Aria that just kind of baffles me the most, though, is like the no beat thing. Just give it to Melody. It makes so much sense to have Melody be the character, be the one that has like the you can't miss a beat thing. Because here's the thing about this game: in the lore, Melody is like a dead person who gets revived by like the golden loot, which is like the end goal of the this is pretty interesting. I'm kind of shocked here because none of these enemies are aggroed on me, but there's just like a bunch of just like skeleton horsemen, yetis, and whatnot, just all on this screen, not aggroed yet. And if I take even like a step closer to them, like I'd probably start to aggro them. So I'm like kind of like hesitant here about what to do. But yeah, why did I am still just baffled. Why is the no beat thing given to Aria and not Melody? Like no missing a beat thing. Because in the lore, you have Melody who gets revived with the golden loot, but there's a catch, and that is that you cannot ever stop playing the golden loot if you want to continue surviving. And it's like, wow, insane. That would be perfect for a gimmick where you cannot miss beats because you need to keep playing the loot, right? But no, Melodies doesn't have that. You can skip beats Melody just fine.
Like, don't get me wrong, I believe I could totally probably survive the situation just fine, but
yeah, I'm kind of scared. Honestly, I'm like totally fine here.
no, it's
Yeah, that's not moving towards you, dude. You yeah, you gotta move towards it.
not be able to kill it.
Anyways, continue on my rant. Oh my gosh, I have so much to say about it. I just don't get why Aria has this gimmick, but Melody, like, cause here's the thing, Melody too is like using the golden loot as a weapon. You deal damage by moving around, so you almost always, like, even without like it being like a hard gimmick, like most of the time it's like it's to your benefit to keep moving and just to always be moving as Melody.
Cool.
So you're always threatening damage of some sort on like anything that might be trying to attack you. So it would have complemented the no beat thing perfectly. It would have fit in the lore perfect. I don't know why Aria has it. Aria would be perfectly fine if it was just no health. You gotta play with like a little margin of error. That's Aria. Ugh. Anyways, I have it off my chest. It's just, it just doesn't mix well for a character like Aria. Not much more to say. I'm not like, okay, I've already done Coda, which is kind of like a troll character. I don't know what exactly you would classify Coda as, but it's not part of the character series. It was part of the original game, but Coda is a character in this game that combines Aria, monks, and bolts restrictions together to just get one whole thing. And yeah, double tempo, never miss a beat. Yeah, I won't even get started on that now. I'll just save that for the Coda video. Yeah. Ugh. That was a neat little rant. I have a little notepad here and stuff to rant about. I got fuel. Let's see here. Opinions on game. Oh yeah, this game, like, you might not think it because I just spent like a whole like I don't know, like 10 minutes just freaking whining about like these like this character's gimmick or whatever. But this game is very good. I think I would highly recommend anyone play this. Like, you don't need to like do what I am doing at all and like try to be like, oh, I got to the fucking chars 11%. No, like, I would say like you just play the game, win as Cadence in all zones. And here's the thing about this game is like, here's like the unique attribute of this game that I just find so cool is like, throughout every stage of progression, it's like always like the same process of like, you have this thing and it's just like, oh my gosh, like this is so hard. How am I supposed to do this? But the thing about Crypt that makes it like so cool in my opinion is whenever you overcome like a new challenge or obstacle, like you overcome it. Like it is crazy. Like once you are past like that point, it is so like crazy to me how easily you can seemingly just go back and like redo it. Like it's not a problem. Like I remember the first time I did Cadence All Zone, and like it seemed like it was certainly like a challenge for me at the time. And then like, you know, not too long afterwards, like it just seems so easy and like natural to me to like with Cadence All Zones, like you know, there's so many things that make it so doable. But obviously, like I don't want to like discredit like the challenge might, because it's not even discrediting the challenge, because it was challenging for me too. It's just like I've played this, like I've ended up playing this game for like I think like 1,000 hours at this point to get all the achievements. So yeah, I've gained a ton of experience. But yeah, no, it's always so fascinating to me. And Aria too. Aria, like Aria was, it's probably got to be like the prime example of like Aria, clearing Aria for the first time was such an endeavor. It just felt so difficult to get it done, and but it felt so good to have it finally be done. And you know, it's extremely intimidating when you have this achievement that exists where you have to do Aria but without items and as a sequence of 9. It just doesn't, like, you know, it's just something that you just kind of can't even like look at the eye directly at first, because you can't even comprehend it. But it just, like, I don't know, I just find this game's ability to like have the consistency work out in that way just fascinating. Where like there was a time where like Aria was like a huge like the pinnacle challenge for me, and here I am doing this all chars run, no items, and Aria is just part of it, and I can just do it. Like I don't know, it's just, it's such a unique and like rewarding feeling, I suppose. I've never played a game that had anything really like it. Mom. Oh yeah, pretty tame. 4-3. So you get for the last boss here. Oh, Coral Reef. So many times here I kind of like screw myself over. Is like in prior runs, whenever I was just kind of like practicing or doing whatnot, I get greedy. I try to like kill Coral Reef like quickly, where I like toss a bomb at its face from the get-go, which will aggro it and all of its tentacles. But the idea is that like, oh, but if you just get like 2 bomb hits in, or 1 bomb hit in a lot of the time, you know, that's just the fight. But no, I swear you can do it that way, but I'd end up screwing myself over. I just do strat where I place the bomb right when the tentacles move in, or like appear. And yeah, no, definitely next.
You gotta be real careful with her. She's very fragile.
Yeah. Gonna do Melody next year. Melody is like, there's a reason Melody comes after here. Why it's like Cadence is the default character. It might not feel initially like Melody would be harder than the default character with the dagger, because it's like you get the golden boot as your weapon, and it's, you know, definitely better than the dagger by a good amount. Just makes crowd control so much easier. You get more opportunities to deal damage, you know, all that. But Melody has 2 starting hearts instead of 3, which can surprisingly matter a lot, like, is surprisingly relevant much of the time. Because there might be certain things that might, you might be able to, like, take 1 attack from on, like, a character with 3 hearts that Melody will just fold on. So, with 2 hearts, yeah, you kind of have to, just need to play as if you just can't make mistakes. Kind of like Aria. Like, if you end up taking damage, like, and you live, like, I would say it's kind of like, I'd almost say, like, you kind of have to do it with the mentality of, like, you know, you can't take damage, and if you take damage and live, then, like fine, continue your run, but you got lucky. Second reason that makes Melody a little bit scary is the final boss she has to face. You will see it, Necrodancer 2. It is like, it is an interesting thing. Its whole gimmick is basically it has a ton of sarcophaguses that spawn stuff, and you're never like not being swarmed. And you know, it's not the worst in the world. The golden loot is, you know, great for dealing with something like that, but it's a lot of things, and it's also on a time limit. So it'd be an interesting boss fight. I honestly like I looked into it a bit. You can do learning, which can help you deal damage to Necrodancer and make the boss fight quite a bit safer. So I'm not, like, having done it, I'm not super scared of that fight anymore, but it's still a little bit of a risk. Not to mention, a lot of the times, like, the real threat the time limit poses, it's not really the time limit itself, it's the pressure the time limit puts on you. Very rarely are you actually running out of time. But it is extremely easy to feel pressured into needing to go faster.
Yeah, let's see here. Let's talk about something. I know I said I wasn't going to talk about the character. I mean, I'm not really talking about the game. I'm just talking about the character. So I guess I am staying true to what I said. But yeah, let's see. What GD level is comparable? Okay, I'm not going to answer this. It's a rhetorical question. I don't know. But I'm just going to address this right now because I feel like someone is inevitably going to ask me this. It's like, oh my gosh, what GE level? What would be comparable to doing this this run in Necrodancer? And to that I say, it ain't comparable. This is like a 3-hour thing in a roguelike. GD just plays completely differently. So, yeah, nah. And yeah, I guess in the sense that like, oh, but if anyone would be qualified to give an opinion on this, it'd be you, right? It's like, I suppose, if we're talking about like most qualified, but this is just gonna lead into a rant. Like I honestly, I find it so strange how the like Geometry Dash people in the Geometry Dash community feel like a need to like sort of like, I guess, like validate the difficulty of like certain like levels or like extreme demons, I guess. Where like you'll see like maybe like go on like the GD Reddit, for example, and you'll just see like the most ridiculous thing like ever, where it's like, oh my gosh, guys, which is harder, beating Tidal Wave or like you know, competing in like the NBA or something? I'm like, really? You need to know the answer to this? There's no way to know. There's other ridiculous too, where like they'll try to like compare the difficulty of like having a like career path to a GD completion. Like, you know, studying and becoming an engineer, you know, what GD level is comparable? It's like, bruh. Yeah, no, people need to let it go. If there was a game that was like that played like GD, I could understand wanting to maybe ask the question a bit, but like you don't need listen. If you're being Tidal Wave or like Bloodbath or any other extreme demon, like just you shouldn't need to like have. Cause I'm assuming this is what it stems from, to like some extent. You don't need to like have there be a comparison to some like difficult thing to do in real life, where like there's like a popular judgment on it to like make you feel like that like your GD completion is like validated in like its difficulty or whatever. Like if it's like it's hard, like anyone who's played GD knows, we all know it's hard, man. We don't need to like go on this whole quest to figure out whatever it's like comparable to. All that matters is what it might like what it's comparable to other GD levels, because you know those are what you can compare really. Anyways, yeah, I just had a whole rant about that there. It's just, ridiculous sometimes. I got damaged for a second. I'm just like, how? Yeah, no, I was hit by like a wind spell and Melody did like a ooh. That's why I thought I got damaged. But no, that she's making that noise because she was surprised. Melody just kind of freaking wipes the floor deep. Honestly, every like boss fight, I feel like Melody kind of like mops the floor with like King Konga. Like every variant of King Konga is trivial with Melody. Like every variant of Deep Blue is trivial. Same with Coral Reef. And like what's the next? Death Metal? Yeah, I mean I guess, yeah, Death Metal might be. I guess you gotta do a bit of theory crafting to figure out how to do those fights, I guess. All right. Time to start another rant? Yeah, okay. You're from very quality. Oh yeah, dude. Okay. So yeah, the achievement progression in this game is kind of wacky. Lowest of the Low is part of like 2 of the final like achievements in this game that are like the final frontier of like this game's achievement. And like here's the thing, like you have the other game's achievements, which are not easy. Like doing Aria and low percent is an achievement in this game. So, but I wouldn't include it as far like the 2. Like the 2 are Lowest of the Low, and then Impossible Right, which is the Coda clear. And oh my goodness, yeah, no. So the achievements that like are like next up that come closest are like Flawless Victory, which is the Aria low percent, and then you have Polyamorous and Very Polyamorous, which is doing like an all characters run, all chars with items, and then Very Polyamorous is doing all char items with items again. But like Very Polyamorous includes the DLC characters, so you on top of like a normal all chars run, you need to clear characters like Mary and Tempo, which can be definitely add a bit of difficulty. Yeah, Very Polyamorous was like my last achievement before being left with like these 2. And oh my goodness, yeah, no, it is quite a process going from that to trying to approach these. And yeah. I still talk about like what exactly how I approached it. I guess if someone's in that same position and they want to know like how do you go from that to this, and it's like it might sound like common sense, I guess, when I say it now, but I'll just confirm it. Or like lowest of the low. Obviously the start of even beginning to attempt this, you need to do every character, just individually have one low percent run done of it. It will probably not be that bad, but I know I spent forever getting my first bolt low percent clear, because it's just such a hard character to play. Double tempo is hard. Yeah, I know. Shocking, right? Although bolt I do find to be an overall enjoyable character, because double tempo is not like with the sphere, accounting for the sphere, double tempo is like, it's not like unfair. It's just you just gotta go fast, and you gotta practice. But it's you know, it's not like you don't get to like reap any rewards from it. It's very satisfying to play. At least that's what I think. Yeah, so I got like all the characters low percent, just cleared them individually, which is, you know, a natural start that you would expect. Afterwards, I kind of divvied it up in like the difficult, because I then aimed to do like low percent of like all the easier like characters, which I classified as like, you do a low percent run that includes Cadence, Melody, Eli, Dorian, Bard. I believe that's it. Like, just do all those in a row, and like it'll be a bit time consuming, but get this down. But with a bit of like low percent experience, just playing it for a while, you can get it down. It might seem like a lot. It's like, really, you go from like an individual clear of all characters to like a lump of 5. That sounds like a pretty big jump, but it's I'd say it's relatively fine to do those 5 at least. But then you have Big Four. I think I was trying to like get like a very huge chunk of the Big Four done, because I saw that as like 3 of them. I'm like, oh, that's equivalent to like these 5, and no. Big Four, yeah. I would say you should definitely expect to be taking a bit more time getting the Big Four in chunks. I would suggest just aim to just get like 1 or 2 in a row. Like, maybe try to mix up the orders. I don't know. Like, you'll be like, oh, I want to get Aria and Monk, or I want to get Dove and Bolt in like one go or something. Which, Dove and Bolt in one go, that's like, you know, that's like the most difficult part of the run, I would say. So if you can get that in one go, and you can see yourself improving, gaining consistency at it, like, you're making progress. This is just in general good advice, but I although one I kind of don't follow super often, because I have little patience for like watching like other people's gameplay when I could just be, you know, out playing the game and having a jolly old time. But definitely for Dove, do try to look into other people's gameplay, if for Dove at least. because it can really help the character click, I think. I think I spent a lot of time struggling with Dove when I probably didn't have to. Laser beam that goal. It looks like I'm gonna laser beam this golem too. That is what I get blasted. Yeah, I would say like if you end up trying out this game and you like really like it and it's like, oh, but you know, I wanna have like a golden reach stone, I'd say it's perfectly valid to like play up until like these last two achievements and then you can just like stop, because I feel like I feel like that it almost feels like those what was it, like 59 or so achievements, those feel like the developer intended. Like these last two achievements almost kind of feel like kind of put there to like sort of taunt the player, which honestly I don't particularly like. I don't hate those though. I think this is honestly fine. Coda I feel a little bit towards. I don't love Coda. Coda's not the worst. It's still being able to like have the, you know, acquiring the skill to do double tempo dagger gameplay is extremely satisfying, I will admit. But Coda has so many caveats with him that I just can't help but dislike the character overall, I think. Lowest of the low, I'd say, is I just like the base gameplay. I just like playing the game. Like I feel like people generally dislike this achievement a lot more than Coda, but I like Lowest kinda, honestly. I like Lowe's because I like the game. It's like, yeah, like, you know, you don't get the items to give you that little bit spice of life, and I can get that, but like, I don't know. This is just pure like gameplay and testing your like ability to like navigate around like the game situations. I'm kind of into it. Use my bomb here. Honestly, not a bad use of the bomb. I tend for a lot of these lowest runs not even end up using my bomb. So just having used the bomb here, good job. Good job, me. You did it. You used your resources. You avoided like probably around like eight moss tiles being placed and like a good amount of time saved. Right. We don't have to play this for. The boss fight is special and doesn't have any type of like arena for it or something, so I'll just wait here. So happy break time, I guess. Yeah. Basically what I said at the moment here. Yeah, you don't actually have to play this floor. You can just be forced onto the next floor and you won't be forced to fight any mini boss. So 4-3 is always kind of scary, so like, yeah, I'm gonna take the opportunity. So that being said, I might.
Yeah,
I'm probably just gonna put a bit of a
entire
timer.
run, so there's not even any temptation to like go find a wisp or something. Just wait here.
All right, looks like the sun's about in. All right. Rod be going to Necrodancer 2. And I basically explained everything I needed to explain about this fight, so
Here goes
you
nothing.
can just see it for yourself. you go. That's basically it. This last phase isn't really an issue. I have so much time left. So yeah, no, this fight went extremely well in the winning attempt. I did hit a couple lures.
All right.
I think I hit like 1 or 2.
Melody down.
But honestly, I think just the thing that helped that fight the most was like I had 2 instances where a wizard like windspelled me towards them, but that was also towards the Necrodancer. So that helped me get like some extra hits in. So I just had so much time at the end there.
Cadence. This must come next. Screenshot again. Alright, let's see it. Will this Cadence run make it? And this is basically the breaking point.
And here we go. This is the base character, so yeah. No, hey, no more gimmicky stuff. You know, we're back to where we started, I guess. Yeah, these last couple runs, while being generally a bit, you know, stress-free, well, they were not stress-free, definitely not. You can definitely still die, and so there's still reason to be worried, but like, the difficulty has winded down another notch by this point. But there is still plenty of run left out to play, like an hour left, so oh boy. These bat rooms are always so crowded. You gotta have like 4 slimes, like 1 monkey, 2 skeletons, like bro, there's barely any space in here.
Doesn't talk more about the experience in itself. I'm trying to think to myself, what was like the roughest part? It is definitely at some point in between being very polyamorous and you know getting here. I think the roughest portion for me in like this experience of doing the all chars low percent is this little transition period where like you can kind of get like decent like streams of things going, like it's kind of there, but it still feels like so far away where like maybe every once in a while I can get a dove and like a bolt in a row, but then you just have like, but it's just so demotivating because then you'll have to do Aria and then monk, and it's like those are already so unlikely as well at the time, and you know it's like. And the solution to it is to just kind of get better. Like, you just practice more, play more, and it's a hard pill to swallow. It will never be an easy thing going through that. I'd say that was probably the most rough portion. I will say though, I was like when I did this, I was kind of like under the impression that like very polyamorous kind of like stood as like definitively like the lesser of like the top two of like these achievements, but it was still kind of like it was able to hold like a candle to it. And I'll be honest, for me, nah. Very polyamorous is like you have to do you have to figure out tempo and memory, which those are not very easy characters. But you know, you get your items. It just takes forever to like complete one of those runs. I guess you also have to do Aria, of course. I had to do that in the original chars run as well. But once you get the main threats down, it's more of just like you just, you know, you can like, you know, I did have a death where I died as Eli because I like bombed the freaking shopkeeper. And I was like so stacked on equipment, which was so goofy. Literally the only thing that probably could have killed me at the time. But you know, we run it back. Did the run just fine. But very polyamorous takes forever. It's like a 6-hour run or something. Granted, I probably could have played that out a lot quicker if I wasn't playing like whole like min-maxy for the whole duration of it, but you know, gotta play it safe. Don't want to waste my time. Although overall, though, honestly, I found the normal all chars and like the DLC all chars to be decently enjoyable for the most part. Like, yeah, it's like not gonna be like just the nature of, you know, doing a bunch of characters in a row and choosing the order you do them. It's gonna be, you know, it's gonna be unbalanced towards the first half, no doubt. It's just how it's gonna be. But yeah, I honestly like doing those. I mean, like, I guess lowest I kind of like doing too. Although, yeah, lowest is, yeah, it's like it's just undeniably just kind of brutal. I do have some, like, you know, I can enjoy parts of it. Definitely, for sure. Also, I just wouldn't have done it, you know. Yeah, I'm not gonna bother with like completing a game that I don't like or something. But yeah, doing all chars 100% is, you know, you get your moments, but it is extremely difficult. Yeah, I'm kind of getting crowded here, but the skeleton body blocking the dragon. I probably would have been fine anyways, but yeah. I can already tell what I'm trying to do right now. I'm looking around trying to find like an exit trapdoor. But yeah, you know that you're not gonna find any without like exploring in a completely different area, so you may as well just head to the trapdoor now, which I'm doing. Not the trapdoor, the stairs. Generally, trapdoor is preferable because every time you kill like a boss that rushes towards you, you go to his boss place, and like sometimes like you have examples like the thing I mentioned earlier where like maybe basically all the enemies got trampled and killed. But a lot of the time it's just like a whole thing of enemies, and it's like I gotta plow through each one of them individually, and it'd be easier to just go down the trapdoor. Admittedly, what a lot of people do at this point in the run is just wait. Every single floor, just wait until the music runs. Listen, I won't judge. It's probably objectively the smart decision, but I ain't doing that.
I don't care if it got past like all the vigilance characters. You tell me I'm just gonna sit there and just wait and do nothing for like
several minutes at a time. Like, I'll lose my flow. I don't know if I would lose my flow. I never tried around with it, but it sounds. I feel like I would lose momentum. Like I feel like I would be losing momentum by just simply just having large portions of the run where I was sitting and doing nothing. Throw the dagger in the end there, nice. I didn't hit that skeleton there because I noticed there was a teleport pad, and I was just kind of paranoid. Like, it is extremely improbable, if not completely impossible. There might be a countermeasure the devs added in the game for this. I wouldn't be surprised to prevent that from happening, where like a skeleton body will hit a teleport pad and then like teleport behind you or something. I was worried that would happen, and here's the thing, chances are that's probably not even a thing that can even happen, because a lot of things about this game are pretty particular. Like, very rarely do you just get like, are there not like some type of like countermeasure in place to stop you from like, usually there's like something in place to stop you from just getting completely screwed over like that. It's why the enemy vision works the way it does, I would say. It seems so like weird when like you like witness it and play it through the first time, where like enemies will just be like frozen or like not move, or will become like completely inactive when like certain conditions are met, and it just seems like a little odd at first, but then it kind of like makes sense. It's like when you have to take into account like so many scenarios where you might get screwed over, sometimes you kind of have to go a little over the top and like do stuff like that to make sure it still stays fair. So yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if a skeleton body teleporting right behind you is just completely impossible. But yeah, that's what I was worried about at the time. The boss room was definitely on the right side here, by the way, of like that wall. I think I just didn't want to dig into it and get into some situation with the blue dragon, because you can see there's like the walls. Like you can see the bottom of the walls, which means there is hollow space there, which is like a little secret area, and a good indication that a path is leading towards a boss room is if you see those little secret areas, because they connect the open portions of the map. That's what their primary purpose seems to be, from what I've observed. But yeah, no, there's no blue dragon here, just a freaking dire bat. Oh my god, be safe. This dire bat does not want to move towards me. That's just how they be sometimes, man. Okay, there literally had no choice but to move closer to me. It was completely blocked. So far there hasn't been any too gnarly 3-3s in this run, which I guess makes sense. If it's the winning run, you know, if they get super gnarly, it's probably because that run died. Oh man, dude, 3-3. Some of the shit I have seen in Zone 3 Level 3, it gets ridiculous sometimes. Like, let me think here. Yeah, no, I think there was an instance where I wish I could just look at the replay and just know what happened there, but I think it spawned in the open, so like and the boss area was just right there, and it was a Minotaur, so that's chasing against you immediately. And I think there were about 4 aggroed black skeleton knights also coming towards you, along with like 2 yetis and like a couple of like elementals to just throw it in there. You know, why not? Yeah, it's absolutely absolute insanity, and I bet you it was survivable still, but sometimes it's hard to test those type of things. There are seeds. Like you can copy the seed at the end of the run and play it, but the RNG works a little interestingly from what I've observed, because there was one time, I believe, I tried to load up a seed so I could play the Zone 3 and play its start, and it was just like the spawns were like completely different. Like I guess the terrain was the same, but like the spawns were like completely different. So you can really, not exactly the most effective means of practice, but what would be nice sometimes for sure is save states. Maybe it might already be a thing. Who knows? But save states would be extremely helpful for a game like this. And yeah, standard death level 3. Just cap out the 3 spawn limit. Being very careful there. Don't want to get too greedy and get fireballed. That would be a very embarrassing way to die. Something you might, like, some people might notice, which I probably should explain, is that they'd be like, why is Cadence dancing? What is this character skin? Yeah, this is part of the supporter pack. To give the devs a little bit of money, you get these little skins. And one aspect of them is that whenever you have a maxed out coin multiplier, they'll do this little dance thing. Or whenever they get low on HP, they'll, you know, have their own thing going on. It's not for every character. You have Cadence, Dove, and Nocturna. I don't think there's any more in the skin pack. Those 3. Because I guess those were the only ones that crossed over into Rift of the Necrodancer. I haven't played Rift of the Necrodancer yet. It's probably a game I'll try out someday. But yeah, that's what these skins are based off of. Can't even see the boss. Oh wait, there is no bot. I'm dumb. I already killed it. Boy. I've reached the point where I don't really have any more like pre-prepared like rant topics, but I can surely think of one. Actually got some more things to that. These Blade Master, talking about tempo, you never get to see tempo played in this run because it's not DLC. But let me just say, Blade Masters, when you play this tempo, freaking menace. Because they spawn in every zone and there's like a bajillion of them. And you'll be in like zone 1, you have these little narrow hallways, and you just do not have the space to deal with a Blade Master. So it just kind of ends up like you just kind of have to take a hit. That's one aspect of tempo that I feel like is a little unfair. I feel like those enemies should be a lot more rare. Oh boy, this armadillo has more health than the mini boss itself. Time's running out. You gotta kill it. Yeah, you definitely gotta kill those teleport monkeys first. I'm sorry. No other choice. I probably have enough time here. Yeah, you just get a fireball. Yeah, you're good.
Alright, chill.
Hey, a pixie. I've taken no damage, so I don't really need it. Yeah. Pixies are funny to me. They're the only way you can heal in a low percent run. But the only place you find them is exclusively on this level in this zone. Like, it's not even like a thing you can find generally throughout the zone. No, it's only on the final level of Zone 4 you can find pixies. So basically, when your run is done, you can get heals, I guess. Better than no heals, I suppose. But definitely could have a much more convenient time of the game to get pixies. That might be kind of their point. Don't want to be giving the players free heals now. We'll give it to them when it's least useful. Pixies are also somewhat scary as Melody. Like, I mean, if you're careful, like, it's fine. But like, since Melody deals like damage whenever she moves, like, if you have to like, if you see a pixie, you need to make sure that whenever it comes towards you, you need to be like standing still for like around 2 or 3 beats. You can't be doing anything, or else you're gonna hit it and it's gonna explode and it's gonna kill you in one shot. The very thing that's supposed to heal you. Yeah, time's gonna run out here. Yeah, although I have quite a bit more time to deal with the
I'm just gonna wait.
the banshee here. I have no problem waiting. Like, I know I just kind of said, like, alright, I can't stand the wait. But, I mean, if the song is literally just about to end, like, who cares? I'll just wait there. Alright, yeah. Here's Cadence exclusive bosses. Since she is a story character. We have Dead Ringer. And then we also have the Necrodancer afterwards. Dead Ringer is a bit interesting here. Dead Ringer can be kind of scary if you'll notice there. The start of the fight here is actually like very important. No, I take a hit there. I was kind of nonchalant about like taking damage there. Like I wasn't super. It didn't seem like I was super. But I mean, like 1 heart of damage could go a long ways here. So honestly, nothing ended up happening, obviously, but that does put me in 1-shot range of quite a few things. Anywho, yeah, no, start of the fight is pretty important here. It's not like it's inconsistent at all, but you need to make sure that you bait and aggro immediately, which requires you to move exactly according to where like the belly's targeting is. Because then he'll spawn like mini bosses, and this fight can get overwhelming extremely quickly if you are not managing Dead Ringer very carefully. Yeah, no, my strat here is you just kind of bait Dead Ringer around, get the sarcophagus destroyed, and then you just have Dead Ringer destroy the bells himself. And here it is, the Necrodancer. Honestly, Necrodancer is like, I love this boss fight, bro. Like, I'm gonna give it a praise right now, even though you're about to witness one of the like most kind of like boring safe strats that I decided to perform in this run. But just like normally speaking, this is such an awesome final boss, bro. I love it. Beating the game through the first time, this is such a fitting boss. It's so. Yeah, no, I love the I love the gimmicks here. I kind of like the like 2-player, like this boss also just has like immaculate vibes. Like getting here for the first time and then like dying and then having the freaking Necrodancer saying his crusty like voice, because it's meant to sound like it's like an old like this game does a very good job, by the way, of emulating that old game feel of he's like try again my pets. I find this most, I don't know, I love Necrodancer one. It's beating it and doing it for the first time is just so, I love this boss fight. They definitely saved like the best for last. And it's not like the other things are even bad. Attention to. Because this boss fight, no matter how good the items get, it's never really like free. Like it's not like it's like terribly like unfair or anything. But the reason that is because you have Dorian, and Dorian will always be like same equipment. He's got the Ring of Might, 4 hearts, and his armor, which is equivalent to plate armor. It's not bad at all. Like, you know, it's very manageable. It's not like he's like super fragile, but it's still possible to die with him, because you might be taking a lot of hits trying to finagle with like the 2-player mechanics, or a Necrodancer might explode on him and do a large chunk of his HP. So definitely very reasonable die as the Dorian in like your normal playthrough. Not to mention, the only way to damage the Necrodancer in the next phase is with the Golden Loot, which will only do 1 damage at a time. So you can't just... I feel like it's very common for a lot of other characters when you have items to just kind of like, once you get to the end of the run, you just have an insane build and the boss just dies like instantly. Snap of a finger. It's never going to happen with Necrodancer run. There is always at least a mild amount of risk to it, and I think that's cool. Obviously, in a low % run, you know, Dorian is like a blessing. It's like, oh my gosh, 2 damage, has armor, an extra heart container. This guy is just never gonna die. But obviously, you know, most people doing this boss fight are not doing it like this. actually in the strat here. It's very similar to what you do in death metal. Basically, head and skeletons. We're preparing for this next phase, which he will attempt to spawn mini bosses on, but he will get these skeleton bodies will curve that, and he essentially can't spawn anything until the skeleton bodies die somehow, which can happen with Necrodancer having his little explosion attack, although that can be mitigated by moving around in a way where he moves away from the skeletons. Because the Necrodancer has a unique AI where like he will decide to move towards you or away from you depending on your position, or the position of like the player that's closest to him in this case. You can, and this is how luring works. Like I'm kind of doing it here. If you can get him in a position where he is 4 away and 1 up or down, and you just like wait a beat, he will walk towards you, and you can just walk towards him, and he will and just do damage, and you won't have to like walk him into a corner or anything. It makes things much smoother for Melody and like this fight in general. It's a bit tricky to get the hang of, especially when like when you're actively moving and like you have to take that into account. Anyways, these last 2 characters are the easiest, which is why you saved them last. Why I have kind of already explained. With Dorian, it's not over till it's over. Like I said.
Yes.
Yeah. So Dorian is definitely an awkward character to play for the first time.
Gotta take a screenshot. Each character clear. Gotta take one.
But a low percent run Dorian is probably
Dorian.
It could arguably be easier than Bard, because Dorian gets like so many things. He gets a pickaxe, so he gets a tool to mine things other than dirt walls with. He gets armor, which is good armor, by the way. 1.5 defense. That's a good amount of defense. He is locked to it, but I mean, like, you know, you're not picking up items. Who cares? You get Ring of Might too, so you're dealing 2 damage, which helps simplify situations quite a bit. He also gets a compass, so I mean, I feel like by the end of this, I got I can, with relatively decent accuracy, like predict where like, you know, where like the boss room is gonna be with just like using like a little bit of like clues from the terrain generation. But compass is nice here. You know, it speeds things up. But yeah, what makes Dorian very playable is in low percent. You do this with every character. So something you practice a lot is, you know, you can just wait there and wait for the enemies to come to you, and this is, and this works very effectively with Dorian. It is tricky to like actively move around and keep your coin multiplier and like hit enemies with like boots of leaping, but if you just let them come towards you, you're like totally fine. It makes the character so much easier. In fact, I'd probably recommend playing this way even if you did have items and were like making money and stuff, because the character already just starts with a good amount. Coral Rift being very easy to navigate with double jump. Not really at risk of ever getting cornered by like his tentacles or whatever. Minotaur. It's no biggie. One thing I will mention, this is kind of related to Dorian, because he has the Boots of Leaping, kind of making him associated with this achievement. There's an achievement in this game that I think is really neat. In Deep Blues, since, you know, it's a game of chess, I'm not much of a chess player myself, so, like, I guess I wouldn't really, like, appreciate it in the same, although I still think it's cool. There's an achievement called, like, En Passant, or I'm not exactly sure how to pronounce it. And it's inspired off of, like, a particular, like, niche rule in chess, where, like, a, like, pawn can capture a piece, that is, like, trying to, I forget what the rule exactly was. I did read about this, about what it actually was. It has to do with how pawns can move 2 spaces up at, like, the start of, like, a turn or something. But I think but this rule exists in place to stop pawns from, like, getting too much, like mobility, I guess. So what you can do is you can have a pawn capture a piece, like en passant, I guess, where, like, you can capture a piece as if the pawn only moved up, like, 1 spot. I think I might just be wrong about that. I honestly would be somewhat embarrassed if I kind of was, because I generally think this thing is kind of cool. But yeah, there is a achievement in this game where the pawns in this game also work in that way. If you try to jump past it, like Boots of Leaping or something, while it's about to move, like, 2 spaces up, it will do damage to you with little text that pops up saying, like, En Passant, or whatever. I think that's a neat little thing, neat little detail. Yeah, King Konga, a little bit of an awkward boss fight to do with Dorian, because it's, you know, you can't just, like, you know, lose beats whenever you, well, you can lose beats whenever you want, I just did there, but King Konga will come after you, so you have to sort of hop around, figure it out. It's certainly it's certainly not the worst, but yeah, it can make things a little complicated. Looks like I got my line set up here. Yeah, alright, we're good. Although that one line is going to have 1 zombie remaining. Although with Boots of Leaping, you can actually just jump around in a certain way, and even though it's on, like, a different, like, beat, like, you can re-synchronize stuff with it. Oh, it's not really a problem anyway, because you could just lose a beat. It being the last zombie, you'd be totally fine. I guess one thing that's also worth talking about is something someone might be curious about. How nervous were you during this? When was the most nerve-wracking part of the run? Or, like, how does the nerves work in this? For me, nerves and lowest were, like, they never went, like, ridiculously, like, high or anything. Like, it's never like I was about to, like, absolutely just, like pass out or anything because I was so stressed out. I would say nerves and lowest. Obviously, near the first couple of characters, you know, you're not really nervous. You know, your run just started, you know. But once you get around, like, character 3, I'd say, there's a growing feeling of uneasiness that I would say peaks once you sort of get to, like, well, it doesn't really peak, but will gradually grow until it reaches around a certain point at it, like, past character 4, and it'll just kind of stay that way. Like, it'll fluctuate a bit, like, for example, like, you know, Melody, Necrodancer 2. Nerves will probably raise a bit there, no doubt. But they kind of just stayed the same
for the remainder of the run. You're just in a constant state of just kind of just uneasiness. So it's a bit interesting. It is probably the amount of nerves you want to have, because, you know, while these may be the easier batch of characters, you don't want to like not pay attention to the same extent that you would before. Like, no, you still need to play well. And doing that can be tough for something as long as this.
I love Yetis.
Yeah, 3 Yetis. They're all next to each other. Another 2 Yetis. Another Yeti. Oh, yeah. Just playing very patiently here. I guess another thing I should explain too. I can't believe it's this late into the run and I've just started to. This is the context I'm giving just now, but you might be wondering, you know, the video quality is that's a bit low. It also has the speedrun timer. Like, you know, what's going on with this? I didn't record this. I did like stream it to Twitch, and it basically got like, there was like, I think like 1 or 2 people. Like no one really watched it. But that wasn't really the point. I just kind of didn't want to record a lot of it. But I also, a funny thing I did is, in my Twitch tile, I put like backseating encouraged, because I really wanted to like, you know, I just thought it would be nice to have like maybe like a potential source of like new knowledge coming in that would help me, you know, finish this. Although it's really funny, I did like a lot of those streams. I don't think there was a single time someone went in there and like genuinely tried to like backseat or anything, even though the title literally says backseating encouraged, which I am surprised by. Like, whatever, I guess. Like it's no pressure. You don't do what you don't want to do. But my impression of like Twitch users, I thought that would have like gotten someone. I thought that was like fresh, like bait. I'm like, bro, there's probably someone out there who just loves backseating, and they're literally getting an open invitation to do so, and it's gonna be the most awesome thing for them. Myself as well. But no, it just it never happened. Not a single person. There were some people who lurked around just to like watch it, and I guess they just wanted to see me, like, you know, finish it. They were not very entertaining streams, I'll tell you what, though. Which they weren't necessarily meant to be. I just kind of played the game, which, I mean, for something like Crypt of the Necrodancer lows, Crypt is a game that's just hard to play while doing much of anything else, which I'm worried that during my time of doing this, that might have been somewhat of like a factor of the game that kind of like sucked and like maybe made it a bit more intrusive than it should have been, because it's like you try to like talk to someone like a Discord call, like it's just, you can't really focus on this game. You try to like watch something like on the side, maybe you like want to watch some like YouTube video, maybe like a TV show or something. You just can't really do it. You need to listen to the music. You need to concentrate. It's never not a thing you need to like not do. So it's just, I feel like I just, yeah, it makes something like this very tricky. when you're playing it for a large amount of your day. Solving the puzzle. How do I get in this exit? There you go. Nah, oof, spider. Ooh, and an explosion.
Thankfully that only amounted to a heart of damage. I will likely just be healed back anyway.
I mean, yeah. I am right. That would have otherwise been an insanely bad mistake if you were not playing as Dorian. I kind of got confused too. I'm not. Yeah, no, it's kind of tricky dealing with it.
It's not funny anymore, okay?
I mean, yeah, I'm a heart and a half down. That's almost half of my HP gone. You can't be letting that happen. Ooh. Kinda got myself cornered a little bit at the end there.
Ooh, so probably a somewhat embarrassing amount of health to end a run with this character on, but you know, I will admit I did not have a deep blue strat prepared. I've always winged it and it usually went fine, which I guess stayed true. Okay. Bard.
Bard.
I am praying this Bard run doesn't encounter some, like, witchcraft scenario that she's just like, although it's more likely to happen if I do die was just like I walked into a golem or something, or I walked into a black skeleton, because that is something I would probably do as Bard on the final one. Yeah. Take that. Please, please have this be it, man. Please. Please. Alright. Here goes nothing, I guess.
Alright. Yeah. So Bard, Bard's whole gimmick is no beats.
Yeah, that's the reason we saved this
take
last.
as much time as you need.
Because, by golly, you're gonna take as much time as you need.
Yeah, so this is probably the longest run of the segment, which yeah, makes sense. You want to play as safely and carefully as possible in this part here, because it's the final one. Arguably might be harder than Dorian,
Because Dorian is like, you know, you can make plenty of mistakes, I suppose. Which gives Korean, like it allows it to be a bit more consistent. Bard has two hearts here. So, similar to Melody. Pretty fragile. Now, granted, you know, not a bad trade-off at all, considering you get as much time as you want to think every decision through. So, you know, there's not really any excuse to be taking damage much. At least in this type of scenario. Anyways, yeah. I think I kind of did here as Bard in the run is I'd kind of sort of move to the beat. Whenever I was just sort of traversing across rooms or doing whatever. Kind of as like a baseline. What was going through my head a lot of the time in this run is that, like, I don't want to be caught dying because I was going too fast. Because that would be just ridiculous. Like, there's one time I need to be slow and extremely patient, and this is that time. Like, if I get caught lacking, like, it's just embarrassing. So yeah, no, what's kind of going through my head in this run is I can, like, I could reasonably play quite a bit faster than this, quite comfortably, I would say. But I don't want there to be like any room for like playing too quickly or choking. So my baseline is the maximum speed you can play at is to the beat. Like Cadence, I suppose. Which yeah, I suppose makes sense. Here I mashed a bunch of mindless walls, I suppose. So hey, I broke that rule. But yeah, all I'm doing here is waiting for the dragon to come towards me, and even that I'm pressing every key one at a time. Frankly, in hindsight, I kind of played this deep fight fairly quickly. It's considering it's like a whole chess game. You think like, why are you playing this quickly? But to be fair, honestly, having played this fight with multiple characters, having such a in-depth sort of like feel for it as I have gotten, I guess it makes sense. There comes a certain point where this fight just plays out like nearly the same every time, with, you know, some variation depending on, like, you know, how much damage you deal, how much health he has access to in total among all the pieces and stuff, you know. Got really consider there if I'm going to take that final step in the floor if I was enemies there. Let's see if I can get one more good rant in here. Because at this point I'm like, you know, the run's coming to a close. And I've kind of run out of fuel talking points, but surely I got, you know, I think I got one more in me. I guess one thing I can mention is I'm using a Bard skin here. Some people might realize this. It's called like Young Bard or something. I don't know. I was just kind of looking over the Steam Workshop. I generally, whenever I play games for all, I just like finding some sort of cosmetic to, you know, use. Which is what I have here. Yeah, one thing that's kind of interesting is something you can do is there are
things on the Steam Workshop that put a 8/8 metronome over the songs for Bolt. So basically every time you're supposed to tap, there's like a audible metronome click. And as far as I know, I think that'd be allowed. I never ended up using that for like this or like Coda or like anything like that, but like I'm curious, is that like frowned upon, or is that like totally fine? Well, I figure it's fine because it seems like nothing gets locked whenever you have it on, but like I'd be curious if that was something that'd be frowned upon to use. Big old lineup of skeletons here. Making sure I got plenty of space between them, because many of these characters, like Cadence, Monk, etc., just characters that don't start with an Azar term, will have these wisps that just like spawn in occasionally. I am not sure to what extent it is random. I read that they aren't really random, like they're predetermined. Like they have a trigger point and like a wall somewhere, I think. So there's like a set amount of them that are there, and like it does take some action on your part to have them sort of like trigger, but like obviously you can't really see them, so like they're, you know, it's not like you could do something about it necessarily in terms of it spawning. Bit interesting how the wisps work in this game. I wonder if they are to some extent like random. It might be something worth reading into, although not that it'll do me much good now, because, you know, I'm done with all the achievements and stuff. But I mean, like, obviously I like, you know, the game's fun, you know, it's not like I'll like never play it again, so I guess it could be useful for that. But I'm overall just curious. Really had to sit there and consider it, I guess. Whatever. It is Bard. It was made for that. I will say Zone 3 is probably where Bard's no beat thing really comes in handy here. With these starts where there could definitely be some risk involved in how you approach the enemies that will probably be aggroed on you from the start. Just getting time to just look at it, think it over, play out every beat slowly helps a lot. I should say this. Someone might be curious to like, what were like my worst fails in lowest. My worst fail in lowest was I had a run that got past the big four. It got past Melody, and it also got past. I think that might just be it. And then it died to Cadence because I walked into an ooze golem on like zone 4. Like it was completely isolated. Like I just walked into it when it was about to attack me because I guess I wasn't I don't know, I just did it wrong. I would say yeah, that's the furthest I ever got before this, for having, you know, done it. Although I would say overall, I didn't get terribly unlucky with this at all. I did have a bit of a patch that I referenced previously. with constantly dying on Monk as the final character in the Big Four on Zone 4. So, like, kind of like multiple potential Big Four clears kind of squandered, but, like, you know, it's, you know, it happens. But yeah, no absolutely terribly far fell at, like, Dorian or what have you. Here we go. Analyzing it here. We got a Yeti, Horseman. This Black Horseman, obviously, is, you know, gotta go first. There's a lot of darker areas. So what I think I'm anxious of here is, like, my biggest concern is that much of the time what will happen is, like, you know, you'll spawn and it'll look like this, and it's like, okay, fine, that's manageable. And then you'll, like, walk somewhere, and from the darkness emerges, like, you know, like 3 skeleton riders. And then you start to realize the spawn is maybe not so manageable as you thought. Zone 3 is quite interesting. You kind of have to tiptoe around your spawn. Like, you kind of have to, like, sort of draw out a bit of area at the start around your spawning point. Because there can be times in Zone 3 where, like, literally down to the, like, very tile that you move. Like, you, like, move one step tile, like, further without moving back and, like, making sure that, like, you know, you didn't attract any enemies or anything. And before you know it, you've attracted, like, too many enemies to really reasonably handle. It's kind of crazy. Going an extra mile here, killing every little slime thing here. I mean, they do mess me up sometimes. Like, sometimes I'll just, like, walk into them because I didn't remember the path correctly, so it makes sense. You know, I have all the time I need, you know, may as well. Gotta walk over the hot coals. Yeah, it's fine. Everything else is dead here.
I actually almost put myself there. Oh my god.
Yeah, this was I kind of, like, cornered myself when I really did not have to here, and I was extremely close to being cornered. This close call is the probably something I'll never forget about this run, was this close call happening with death metal. I didn't take any damage, but I was, like, surrounded by beetles in death metal. The thing is, all the enemies there, their melee damage is 1.5 hearts. So for what it's worth, I could have survived one hit from anything there. But considering that I was kind of surrounded, I reckon if, like, things had not worked out so that I could, you know, sort of, like, weasel my way out, that I probably would have taken more than one hit, which would have resulted in death. Granted, if I realized that was about to happen, there might be a rally where, like, maybe after, like, carefully planning, like, moves that for, like, minutes, I figure out a way where, like, I can lay down my bomb, take the 1.5 hearts of damage, and then the iframes of that will shield me from my own bomb explosion, which would have done, you know, my full 2 hearts, and get me out of that. Yeah, I don't know. Anyways, it's whatever. I ended up fine, I guess, so thank goodness. I can tell already what I'm about to do here. You never get forced out of the floor because the song runs out or anything is barred. So, yeah, I'm about to do here. There really is no consequence to just, you know, taking this single ooze golem, like, as far, like, just having it move towards you as, like, far back as you need, like, all the way back to spawn, basically. And having it just so you can lay its ooze thingies here. Because, I mean, why not, I suppose. You do have the time. It's cheeky. I used the Goblin Bomber to destroy that bomb, so it would no longer be occupying the tile. Some interesting things about Los that is worth noting. Yeah, no, you even if, like, you pick up an item like a bomb or a scroll or something and don't use it, that it still counts as picking up an item and violates the low percent rules. So, you know, like, you can't touch that. You can't, like, touch stuff like that, like bombs laying on the ground. There's also an interesting interaction that can happen sometimes with you'll see oftentimes, sometimes certain enemies will be larger than others, and that's because they are, like, I think the in-game term for it is referred to as, like, a lord, but I like to think of them as just like a Gigantamax, like Pokemon. They'll do, like, you know, double damage, have double the health, and they are 50-50 whenever they die to drop either, like, a large stack of gold or a gigantism scroll. And that scroll you cannot pick up in 1%. If you pick up that scroll, your run's as good as dead. So it can... I've never had any super unlucky situation happen with a gigantism scroll, but yeah, it's something to keep in mind. It's a little scary. You have to kill something in the spot, and, like, you need to walk into that tile, you know, sucks. Surprised I didn't use that Goblin Bomber to try to get damage on the Moss Golem, but like, that's whatever. I can understand the mentality at the time, where it's like, yeah, there is a, you know, there isn't a technically more efficient play available to me at the moment, but it's like maybe a little too complicated for my own good, and it's best to just not even run the risk of even like, you know, finagling my way through and then finding out that like that I like have screwed myself over because I made an error at some point. So yeah, I can get the mentality. It's probably a fair decision to make. But also, yeah, you do have all the time in the world. I don't know. Either way, it makes sense. I know I want to beam that Moss Golem, but it's not called a Moss Golem. It's called an Ooze Golem. I think it is a Moss Golem. But yeah, no. You're not going to be able to navigate around that thing safely. Which is fine. It's like, you know, you can just kill it. A little cheeky here. Use a trap a bomb to kill the mini boss with. I don't believe I planned it to work out that way, but it's one way to get it killed. Here we go. Final floor before the boss. Don't mess up. Can I really tell I'm not enthusiastic about this? That terrain is kind of gnarly. 5 moss, 2 spike traps, moss golem. Everything else. Thankfully, it's fine. It's just not like it's workable. Yeah, no, this happens so often, and it's like you can't really. There's not really an effective way to handle this a lot of the time, where 2 spiders will be back to back, and and you'll try to mine into it and kill one, but then you'll release the other one. And if you kill the spider, the other spider will hit you. But if you don't kill the spider, then that spider will hit you. It is really goofy. Thankfully, like, I was going to leave them, I think, here, but the miner was able to sort of mine one out and free it, but the other one stayed, and it was trapped behind a wall. So it was kind of fortunate. I actually got to deal with those spiders. It seems dragons have higher priorities over Herpes, so it can't jump over it. It's fine though. Nice big vertical space. There's no risks there really with that dragon. Great. Sarcophagus is
useless now, basically. Yeah. I know what I'm trying to do at this point. I'm surprised I went for display, all things considered. But it looks like I'm trying to get to the exit without dealing with this armadillo and these two moss golems. Which you can do, which that was a little scary at the end, by the way. Let me just say. Like, I was completely fine. The game gives you invincibility whenever you enter stairs. If an enemy tries to attack you as you enter them. But that golem, it attacked me when I went on those stairs. Stall off the confusion here a little bit. The confusion could help you a little bit, but I practiced this fight with both of these goblin bombers starting unconfused. And it's what works consistently for me, so that's how I did it here. Kind of threading the needle there, kind of line, but it's all good. And both of them are confused locked, so yep. Completely safe to just take out the conga line. Alright. I think I'm gonna shut my mouth now and just, you know, enjoy the reaction.
I fucking can't believe it. I did the lowest of the low! Dude! Ugh. Congrats. That's just an impressive achievement. Thank you, man, bro. Apologies for the painfully slow bard gameplay, but I am sure you can understand. I'll let the credits play out. Nice of you to create some tension for the viewers on death metal. Oh yeah, that's what I meant to do, yeah. We couldn't just let it be an easy win. No. Yeah, no. Yeah. I'm cringing at the fact that that was kind of close. It's fine. Thank you very much. So they named that Dire Bat. No name for the nightmare. King Gong is just King Gonga. Okay, the bosses don't have changed names, alright. That's a lot of testers. Launch testers. Fight testers. Thanks for grooving. Not the end. Coda. I have not done Coda yet. I think a lot of people, I think this is generally agreed to be the harder achievement in Coda, but I didn't do Coda yet, so I'm not done completing this game. I got some unfinished business. $37. How did I get 28 in score? I guess I made a habit of picking up the money, huh? Some 3 on that one. They all have a time now. Apparently, the DLC characters also have a time for some reason, even though they were not part of the run. Okay. Whatever. Coda 2. Coda also has a time for this. Okay. I don't know what more to say. I'm frankly, I'm kind of hungry. It's one hell of a gauntlet, I'll tell you what. I'm glad to be done with it now. Very glad. Anyone who was lurking watching this, thank you very much for watching, I guess. I don't know. Peace out.